What up, people? What up? What up? What up, sis?
How y'all doing?
Hey, yo, what's happening?
Talk to me.
CDL, you looking real delightful. You looking real delightful
Thank you.
tonight. You looking real.
They,
You looking real.
they,
You
they
looking
call
real
they
royal.
call me they call me Cuban Delicious. Don't trip.
Ooh.
Yeah, I see. I understand why. I see you wearing that crown real well, Queen. I see you.
Absolutely.
Hey,
All right,
people.
everybody.
Hey, sis, you want to tell them what happened on TikTok?
I'm sorry. Hold on.
Hold on one
What?
second, y'all. Let me do the intro. Once again, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 11th issue, the 11th episode of the Sit Down, where the truth is told and real stories unfold. You already know how we do. My name is Malik, your host, along with my co-host, Oran, my brother, my other co-host, my sister CDL, the Queen. Welcome to all the new viewers. Welcome to all the regulars. Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Real quick, tonight we have a special guest, a comrade of mine that I've known for over 20 years, a young brother, and he's going to share with you his story on redemption, his story on tables, on himself, so to speak, and on the streets, and, you know, just getting focused, man, and creating a lane for himself, which has just been phenomenal in the last 4 or 5 years, because I've known him for over 20 years. So with that being said, once
Rap
again,
game.
good evening. In the rap game, baby.
That's right.
In the rap game. So what you were saying to CDL, bro?
Yeah, what happened to CDL with Black Rob?
What happened?
What happened with Black Rob? Our brother, another soldier gone, another general in rap game, hip hop. Black Rob.
Man, to be honest, I ain't even read nothing about it. I haven't watched the news in a week outside the trial.
I thought we had a video to show on him. No?
No.
Oh, okay.
I asked you about that beforehand, so I'm lost in the sauce apparently.
Okay.
Well, people, we
all
want
right,
to send
shout
our
out to everybody.
Go ahead, Malik. Go ahead.
No, I'm good. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
We want to send our condolences to Black Rob, the artist, Woke, his hit, his family, and all the people who loved him and, you know what I mean, and supported him. The hip hop world lost another good one.
Another
good one, another giant. So condolences and shout out former Bad Boys former Black Rizal.
What you saying? So everybody, I see people commenting saying Mr. P just commented saying he died from kidney failure. I didn't even know he passed away. When was this?
Yeah, he a couple of days ago.
Wow, man.
Gotta stay up on that news, baby.
First, my comrade, my brother, they call him my twin DMX, and now Black Rob, man. Young brothers, man. Damn. And I wonder, now I know why you mentioned that you wanted to play a video. Now I know why you wanted to play the video. You know what I mean? But like I was saying, you wanted to play the video. Before I came to Texas last year, September, I would be in Harlem at my brother's lounge on 135th and Lenox. Shout out to Harlem, shout out to New York. For those in New York, go to the Legend Lounge, 135th and 5th Avenue, and 145th and 5th Avenue. Legends Lounge. That's my brother Antonio from Lead by Example. Shout out to him. But I would see him walk by the lounge like every weekend. And he was always crispy. He was always clean. He slimmed down a little bit, but I was in prison with him in Elmira in 91. And we'd have ciphers in this big spot called the Armory. And I used to bang on the wall with my man Frog, my little homie Frog. Actually was his homie. They was in G Block together. And we used to go to these ciphers, smoke bud, play on the handball court wall, and dudes just freestyle. And then he got out and he got with Diddy and Bad Boy and he blew. But when I seen him in 2020, 2019 in Harlem, I was offended by the way he looked. He was healthy looking, but like I said, he slimmed down, but he was always walking. I never seen anybody always walking by. You know what I mean?
Right,
so now you saying the brother passed, man, like, you know, condole Black Rob and to his family, man. Man, that's crazy. But family, we got a special guest. And any minute now, we're going to bring him on. This is my man, my comrade, my young brother, named AKA YG. He's from Brooklyn, New York. And we're going to bring him on. I'm going to ask him for questions and we'll talk about some things. Hopefully, like I always say at the end of the sit down, once the sit down is over, once we log out, that you continue to enter, the process of having to sit down with your family, your friends, your loved ones, because the sit down starts here. But when we log off the air, it doesn't end here. We want y'all to continue to sit down with your people, with your family, the people that you care about, and talk about what we discussed on the sit down. Because again, family, here on the sit down, we do not talk about things just to be talking about them. We talk about things that affect the Black community, the brown community, the Latino community, and all communities at large, and particularly oppression and gun violence and systemic racism. So with that being said, welcome to my brother William Young, aka YG. What's poppin', homie?
So what's good? What's good?
YG.
Ain't nothing, man.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. So once again, man, I thank you, man, for pulling up, man, and gracing us, man, with this interview. Because I know your time is, is I'm not gonna say it's limited, but I know you got things to do. You got projects on deck. So with that being said, we're gonna jump right into it. We're not gonna keep necessary. So with that being said, to explain to the viewers, right? First of all, where you from?
You already know, Brooklyn, New York. Born and raised.
Yeah. What part of Brooklyn you came up in?
East New York. Wow.
East New York.
A lot of legends came out of here.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact. So what was it like? I mean, okay, what was it like for you? I know what it was like for me. I know what the viewers, what they say it was like for them growing up in the hood, you understand, in the ghetto and the slums or whatever we want to call it. What was it like for you growing up in East New York? I know what it was like. I grew up in the East too when I was young. What was it like for you growing up in East New York?
I mean, for me, it was, remember what I'm saying? Because, you had a lot of positive things, negative things going simultaneously, you know what I'm saying? But me in particular,
Right.
As a young brother, just being into music, I was surrounded by a lot of East New York legends. So, you figure I grew up with Master Killer from Wu-Tang, Blase, B.F. Cut, and they had that hit song Danger back in the days. So it was like a lot of star power in my particular area, you know what I'm saying, of East New York. So that kind of like leveled the playing field, where some sides of the East was like, super turn up and, wild and, you know what I'm saying? But it was like I had that balance. Fortunately, you know what I'm saying? I was able to be amongst people that was actually getting it inside of the music game, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
They 2 doorsteps away, you know what I'm saying? So it was like a good experience, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's ironic you said that. For a lot of people, they would say they had, they would pretty much talk about the bad experiences, you understand? But you seem to have, yeah, you seem to have been, created a balance for yourself. So with that being said, you mentioned music. What type of music are you referring to, and what got you interested in music?
Well, hip hop, you know what I'm saying? I was always interested in it. I wound up learning from my cousin, passed away. That's the dad and shit, man. We was the same age, 5 days apart, same year, and he was the one who taught me how to rap, basically. And I grew up on that whole vibe right there. And it just so happened as I got older, all of these guys from my neighborhood that was older than me, because they're all older than me, the guys that I've made reference of, you know what I'm saying? But I'm watching them with my own eyes, you know what I'm saying? Like blow up in the music business. It's like, oh, like this is definitely attainable. This is achievable. So it's like, it ain't all for nothing. And that was like even more motivation to keep it going. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh, you also had group home. The group home back in the days too. They wasn't too far from me either.
Right.
So, you know, there was a lot of dudes that was, you know, breaking ground inside of that music world that was like directly connected to my environment.
Right.
So, you know,
So what was
that was
okay?
me.
So while you, yeah, facts. So while you was being entertained and pretty much not entertained, but while you were studying, because I know you almost 21 years,
Right,
you know what I mean? And I know you were a
Yeah.
student of knowledge, you
No
understand?
question.
And I've always told you over the years, man, that I'm proud of you because I know your
Right.
background. I know what you was about when you was young in them streets, you understand? And I know
Right.
where you at today. So with that being said, who are your influences in music then and today?
But definitely the guys that I mentioned, because like I said, it's like a whole different vibe and connection to actually know, be able to speak with, you know, individuals that's way out of there. You figure, you know, a Master Killer, for example, was like directly around the corner from me, and you know, like his kids was getting babysat on my block. So, and we was both 5%er. So, you know, he knew me as a young god, and he would take the time out to build and even help develop the craft. You know what I'm saying? And you know, they was
Right.
selling records, man. They was moving records, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is at the prime of they, you know, they breakthrough in the industry. And I'm
Right.
seeing him. I'm having conversations with him as a young buck, and also blase, because they was right there too. And you know, mentoring me and telling me, you know, what I should do, what I shouldn't do, even as big brothers. And yo, you know, don't get too deep in these streets. Keep it going with the music. You know what I'm saying? So they was not just a good inspiration to look at, but they took the time out to actually mentor me. You know what I'm saying? And you know,
Right.
try to guide me in the right direction. So they definitely them. You know what I'm saying? And then you know, you got other people like, let's say Biggie or Tupac or Nas. Like everyone during that time had a different influence on me for different reasons. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it was quite a few.
Let me jump in. YG. So
Yeah.
yeah, what's up, bro? You mentioned that you were getting the mentorship. You had
Right.
Examples around you as far as artists are concerned to basically help navigate you about the art, about rap, something that, you know, clearly you took a liking to. So, you know, you and I, we spoke last night. So first, were you in the game, or were you in the, you know, were you rapping seriously before you got off into the streets? And then after you got off into the streets, tell us what happened with your life after that.
Well, I mean, for me in particular, I was always, you know, rapping. I probably started at like age 7 or 8 years old, but it was something that, you know, at that time when I started, you know, there was a lot of child celebrities. So at a young age, that was another motivating factor. You know what I'm saying? Because you're watching, you know, guys like Crisscross or R&B acts like ABC, and that was all within my age group. You know what I'm saying? At that time. And, you know, and if they were older than me, it wasn't by much. And it was just like, you know, to see childhood stars was motivating in itself as well. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, even though the Wu-Tang and the Blase came when I was a little bit older, I still had a target. I still had something to look at, to aspire to. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, pretty much that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Right. So what about after that? Because, you know, we fellow, you know, I grew up in East New York. We spoke about that last night.
Right.
And, you know, I'm a product of the projects, you know what I mean, in the streets and the whole nine. And I always say at the end of the day, with all the mistakes I've made and decisions and choices, Brooklyn still raised me well. You know what I mean? It's about honor, loyalty, and the code. And we don't cross that for no one. I don't care where we go in life. It's honor, loyalty, and code. We stick that word. And you know, so growing up in East New York, and you was right down the block for me in Cyprus, so I already knew who you were. And I already knew you know, the vibe of what the streets is. So what I
Right,
like
right,
to
right.
know from you is,
Yeah.
after you know you had the knowledge of certain artists and you saw that rap was attainable for you,
Right.
what was it that steered you towards the streets instead of full time in the game at that time? And what
Right.
was the outcome? What was your outcome from not staying, you know, totally locked in on the rap game? You got in the streets. And what happened to you after that?
All right. You know, to answer that, you know, my particular experience as a young buck was a little different because I had those dudes around where some people didn't. You know what I'm saying? It was like, you know, you can only see them on TV. But for me in particular, it was the fact that, you know, I had these guys, but like I said, they was big. Like we talking about dudes at that time that went gold or platinum. So they on the road, you know what I'm saying? And I'm the little brother. And at the time, you know, at that time back, I was 5% too. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I was I've always been, you know, in the conscious community, even as a young buck. You know what I'm saying? But so the whole thing is like if these guys is on tour and they only around to give you a moment of guidance, you know what I'm saying? When they leave, guess what? You influenced by the dudes with the super big names that's in the neighborhood that's making noise. You know what I'm saying? And at the same, even though you aspire to be in the music game, you know, or as for me particular, you know what I'm saying? I'm aspiring for that. But at the time when they leave, I got all these dudes with the super big names, you know what I'm saying? That's holding it down around the way and that's getting their own accolade, a whole different lighted perspective. So it's like, you know, I look up to them just as much look up to the other one, you know what I'm saying? And that kind of empowered, you know, the positive aspect of music, because I'm still doing the music, but you know, these guys are around more. I could see them more and doing more. And all right, so now it's like as a young buck, you trying to emulate that behavior. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I wind up getting caught up. You know what I'm saying? With the
CDL.
negative outcome.
You know, I was, you know, the whole time you've been talking, and you know, and I already know my brothers. You know, I was sitting there thinking about the rap life. You know, what I'm saying, the industry, and how so many of people who are in the industry also dabbled and dabbled in the streets, right? And I'm looking at, you know, just to let you know, I'm one of the ones. I'm like the social community activist one. So, you know, my mind, you know, I wanted to start a nonprofit, and I was just thinking about it, you know, and this is kind of bringing it home. I wanted to start a nonprofit called Moving Music for youth who want to get into the game, right? They want to get into the industry, but so many of them get exposed and left out to dry, like you said. You know, when they're gone, you stuck with the hood. But a nonprofit so that people that are, you know, young can learn their craft and practice their craft without being influenced by the bullshit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So listening to you, it was kind of, you know, I was resonating on, you know, dang, maybe I'm supposed to start this too, right? Like, because there's so many people, especially when you see these new young people in the industry, man. I mean, the only thing they talk about is, you know, lean and Xannies and
Right.
pills, and you know what I mean? Because they're influenced, they have no one guiding them. Like they have a skill
Right.
and an art and a talent, but they don't have no guidance, you know. So that's what I was thinking about when I was listening to you. Like, you know, we need people who know the craft and really have a gift, but and have a place for them to safely learn those things without all the outside influence. So that's what I was
Right.
thinking, you know. And I appreciate you being here because, you know, people need to understand what it takes to get where you've gotten and the things that you've had to do to get there. You know, like we don't just pop up one day from the hood and be like, oh, I'm gonna be famous. Hey, I'm gonna do this.
Right.
You know, there's some trials and tribulations and some work you've had to put in, you know, to much is given, much is required. So, you know, That's what I was thinking about the whole time. That's why I was just staring at you like, okay, I think I'm supposed to do something here.
So
I'm Captain
yeah,
want to save the world. So
yeah. So real quick, for everybody that's tuning in, that's watching, and that's listening, and really paying attention in the beginning of the show, this is my comrade, my younger brother. His name is YG, aka William Young. If you're able to, while you're viewing this and listening, you can go on Facebook and you can type in William Young. Go to his Facebook page and you will see everything that we're talking about as far as his career is concerned, and you will see the moves that he made in the industry. You understand? And the lane he created for himself, because like the sister just said, a lot of people want to get in the industry, but they don't have anybody to shape, mold, guide, and motivate them when they get in the industry. You understand? So their influence is what they hear on music from their peers or those older than them. For my younger brother, my comrade, he didn't that wasn't an issue for him. You understand? He didn't worry about being accepted by this group or that group, this segment or that segment, and start popping pills, sipping lean, and doing the BS. He stayed focused. You understand? So with that being said, who have you worked with in the industry recently, or period? And let us and tell us about your projects that you got individually, or like solo projects, and the music you did with other artists.
Well, I mean, in the industry up to thus far, you know, we on music now, right?
For sure.
Okay, cool. So music, I work with everybody from Papoose to Little Mama to DJ K Slade to Dipset to Sheik Luge from the Locks, like to Big Pun Son, Chris Rivers, like the list goes on and on. Yeah, it's just like a lot of people that's in the game. You know, I was affiliated with around Cardi B. Like the list just keep going. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
see.
I got a lot of accolades under the belt, man.
It's crazy that you mentioned Cardi B, because I still got the picture of you and Cardi B in the strip club when she was stripping and sounded the music, and she threw up the Yukon sign.
Right. I mean, for people who may not know, you know, I got two companies. So I got Yukon Entertainment, which is the music label, and then I got Angel Publications, which is the book publication. So you know, when I was pushing hard with the music around that time, like Cardi B, you know, she was seeing, you know, the brand being represented a lot. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, why everybody throwing up the U? You know what I'm saying? What's the U? Yukon. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's my label. And then boom, before you know it, she was throwing it up. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, supporting the movement, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's definitely, and then to see her transition and blast off like that, you know what I'm saying? Was like,
Yeah. So let me ask you real quick. I know my co-host got some questions too. How did the project come about, man? Well, there was two projects. I wasn't surprised when I seen them. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was just like, you understand, like a cheerleader without pom poms, so to speak. You understand? When I saw when you wrote Puma from Black Ink Harlem's biography, right? And you was also on the cover of Straight Stunting magazine as one of the top 5 unsigned MCs around the country. And out of those top 5 unsigned MCs, right, you were the one that made the cover of Straight Stunting magazine. You were the one that Puma chose to write his biography, you understand, through Rock Angel Publication. So real quick, tell us about those two projects, how they came about.
Well, you know, I started off in the literary world. So, you know, I actually started breaking ground with books first. And then it was like, oh, this guy does music too. And then I started saying music and making noise. And then, you know, before you know it, I had records spinning on everything from Z100, Hot 97 to Power 105. It was like, this is the book writer right here. So eventually, you know, I came in contact with Puma, and you know, he knew my story. You know, we spoke, and you know, we agreed to have me do the book. So I did the book. I'm already affiliated with K Slade. He already knows that that you know I write. But now it's like, oh, you're taking it to another level. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know you do a little novel thing, but now you penning celebrity books. Like, you know, you keep touching around. So that one thing led to the other. So it was like, okay, not only did you break ground with writing and being a musician, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you was nominated top 5. All right, so now we got a reason to push you, you know what I'm saying, into the cover of this situation. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because even when we got interviewed Slave for that project, where he interviewed us on Shade 4-5, he had to explain to his audience, like, hold on a moment, to explain to how these two motherfuckers got together. You know what I'm saying? Because this one is a book writer / musician, and you know, this one is a reality star. So let me show y'all how it all connects and how, you know, they wind up getting on the cover together. Because it's not like I was with Dolo, I was with him. But it was because of the accomplishment. Like, yo, this guy transitioned from, you know, novel writing to hardcore rap to penning a celebrity's biography. You know what I'm saying? It was like, all right, boom, now let's highlight this part of your life right here, and that's how I wound up getting the cover. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Overall?
Yeah.
YG, let me bounce somewhere else right quick, because you did mention about you know, getting off into the streets, you know, based on you know, after the mentors blew up and they went a different way. And you know, at the time, same for me, the idols around us and the people we looked up to were the people that was in our community, especially the older brothers getting money, you know what I mean, with the cars, the clothes, the jewelry, the girls, you know what I mean? So for me, that's what at that time I kind of idolized and say, wait a minute, I got to get out here and get some bread, you know what I mean? So you getting into the streets is not uncommon in many states in America, in many hoods of America. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, as we spoke again last night, you know, I understand you went up top. So for most of you people up there, if you don't know what up top is a phrase in New York. We talk about prison. It may be the same thing down there where you are, but the brother went up top, you know what I mean? He got out in the street, you know what I mean? So speak to the people a little bit about, you know what I mean, your stint, if you want to talk about how you got there, the incident that led to you getting up top, and how was it? And of course it wasn't good. So I'm not asking you like how was it? Like, hey, you know, tell me if you had a shower and you know what I mean, you know, a big. What I mean is, how was that experience for you, and what did it do to you psychologically?
Great question.
You know, that was a heavy blow for me as a young, you know. Going up there, I wound up doing a total of 12 years. You know, we spoke yesterday. It was for a shootout with police. So, you know, they wound up giving me 12 years, and I was super young, like, you know, about 21.
Yeah, okay, so I remember, like, I met you in the can, unfortunately.
Wait, hold up. He got disconnected somehow.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Sorry about that, people. We'll get him back up.
Yeah.
You know what's funny though, you guys, I didn't tell my brothers this. You know, I have a record label.
Yeah.
And it's called Drug of Choice Productions.
Right.
Meaning music being the drug of choice. But I have an actual legal label, yeah.
I got a song. Could I get in the studio? It's called I'm Waiting on Him.
I have a mini studio in my house, but I do have a label. So I don't know. Maybe you know, and just I'm gonna play up to y'all right now. New York, East Coast rap is my favorite. Okay, besides the gangster rap of the West Coast. But other than that, like I grew up on East Coast rap. Like my favorite was EPMD and freaking KRS-One. Like that's what I grew up on, and that's what I love. So you know, I'm just letting you know I do have a label called DOC Productions.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So for the viewers, right? Until my my comrade come back on, God willing. The reason why we're interviewing him, right, is not like I know his story. You understand? Like I met him in the pen when he was a young boy. I didn't like a lot of the young brothers that I met when I was behind the wall. He was one of the young brothers I did not have to put under my wing. I did not have to protect. I did not have to tell the goons, the homo thugs, the booty bandits, the extortionists, because I want you to be clear. For those of you who've never been behind the wall, right? But you know somebody and you heard stories, right? The same crimes that are committed in society are being committed behind the wall every day. Rape, robbery, murder, extortion, drug use, drug selling. And they're felonies. And they're felonies. And a lot of people go and they get behind it in them situations and they see other dudes doing it because once you're here for a while, you learn the ropes, so to speak, right? And you also learn, if you're smart, if you're wise, you learn what to do and what not to do, who to stay away from and who to get next to, right? So with that being said, I've witnessed a lot of people see these cats doing what they do and get money behind the wall, not realizing this is a felony, not realizing that they get busted by the COs or somebody tell on them, that they can get prosecuted in the town that, let's say, for example, my living room is a prison, right? Is the prison, but my den or my kitchen, right, is the court outside the prison. In every prison, in every county, there was a courthouse outside that prison. And if you get caught doing certain things and it's a felony, they do have the right to take you outside the court and have you rearrested, prosecuted, brought back to that prison you was in, and then you wait for the judge to produce the order, have the order to produce sent to your prison that you're in, and have your behind transported back to the prison, back to the court rather, and have you prosecuted for that felony. And once you cop out to that felony or you go to trial and you're convicted, your time runs consecutively. Meaning, once you finish the time that you was already set to serve, then you'll start your new bid. And this is how people get trapped in the cycle of the penitentiary and wind up doing more time.
Hey, can you do me a favor and I'll mute you for a second and check and make sure that he ain't having no connection issues?
Go ahead.
No, you. I don't have a phone number.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hey, you know something, CDL? You know, what YG when you know what he spoke to a broader issue as well, and the issue is mentorships or role models in the communities, because as he said early on in his life, he had artists, well-known mainstream artists, teaching him about the game. You understand what I'm saying? Mute him, CDL, teaching them about the game. You know what I mean?
We good whenever you can.
When these artists made it to a certain level, a certain status, they kind of took off and they forgot. They left the hood. They didn't come back. You understand what I'm saying? They didn't do the very thing that they intended to do by being role models and by being examples and by being inspirations. So, you know, when I listen to them, I see a broader issue, because so many of our people, they grow up, you know, whether they go to school and become somebody, they have a talent and they become something, they grow up and they leave their communities, which you're supposed to do because you're supposed to elevate and want better. But they forget and they don't come back to the very same people that at the time kind of depended on them or need their assistance and need their star power or their influence. So I thought that was interesting that he brought that up and he made that connection when he said himself, you know, these guys I looked up to When they left, all I was left with was the hustlers. You know what I mean? The people from the hood.
But you know, this is why I have so much passion. I'm not big like them. I ain't famous and I ain't left, but I have left the hood. You know what I mean? And because of what he was talking about, and countless other people, and we've talked about it, just in general, not just famous people, but people who get their life together and move up and out, right? And because of that, I've always been one of those people that I refuse to forget where I come from. Refuse, will not, cannot, you can't pay me to. And that's why I have all these organizations I'm trying to start. That's why I do what I do, because there's people out there who don't know how to get up and out. You know what I mean? They need us to keep going back.
But you know what's crazy about people? Let me just share this right quick. One of the Shawnee Brown said he sounded like DMX. So this is me and DMX in Harlem in 2015, right? And I met him on the show when I came on for Independent 2013. And anytime I seen this dude and he heard my voice, he'd be like, "That's my twin, that's my dog." You understand? But nevertheless, when we talk about like my brother Oran just mentioned, the brother Raji was talking about, he had the rappers that was in his community, and I know, me and him, my brother Oran, we from the same area, so we know the rappers he's talking about. Big Daddy Kane, you understand, Arabian Rakim, and a bunch of other influences.
I love them
in the 90s, right? But like the brother said, when these guys went back on tour, they go on tour for 8 months to a year, 6 months to a year. So now he's left to look at who? Unfortunately for him, like me, him, my comrade Oran, these are the guys that we emulated. These are the guys that we didn't idolize these dudes, but we emulated them because everybody wants attention. You understand? Everybody wants attention. We all like nice things. You understand? We all like, men, most of us anyway, like females, the opposite sex, and we like to, you understand, have nice things. But I'm just trying to figure out, like, what is it about materialism? What is it about keeping up with the Joneses? But that's a talk for another segment. It is also a trap because, like I said, we here on the sit down, we discuss real issues that affect real people, everyday people, us, and our families and our communities. Because what we do affects our community. I know for a fact what me and my comrade Oran did, it affected our community for years. Because we know what we did in them communities. You understand? And thus far, we have not had a chance to go back and really, really straighten out the damage that we've done to the community that we violated, right? In different states. So this is the sit down, the Cons to Dons movement, my brother's clothing line, 24 Fly, his maintenance company. It's our way of saying, listen, man, we were young then, we were naive, and we apologize. You understand? We apologize for the destruction that we caused. You understand? We apologize for influencing your son and your daughters that was younger than us, that watched and followed us. Because I can mention a lot of names, and my comrade can mention names too, of the young brothers that follow me and him. And a lot of them, most of them are dead, trying to do what me and my comrade did. There's no way that once you do something, man, once you do something of that magnitude, there is no way to say, I'm sorry.
Right.
There is no real way to apologize, because once damage is done to the mental, to the psyche, it is hard to undo that. Like racism. Racism can't be retrained. You cannot train a person that is racist or not to be a racist. Racism is an ideology. You understand? So with that being said, welcome back to my comrade. So real quick, for the viewers, I just want to give you a rundown. I'm going to show you some photos, right? So this is my bro YG, right? This is him right here with little C's when both of them were kids. When both of them were kids, you hear me? Right? Right? So this is him and Puma from Black Ink, right?
Yeah.
This is him on the cover of Straight Stunting magazine. All this can be Googled, right? This is him with Ray J in the studio somewhere, right?
Yeah, being Ray J, right?
This is him promoting this album. This is single with Papoose, right? The hoodie.
Right.
And my favorite, my girl, Cardi B. Shout out to Cardi B throwing up that UConn.
You
All right?
call, baby.
So with that being said,
Yeah.
where do we leave off with the bro, Ron?
I think we
talking-
will. Go ahead, CDL. Go ahead.
He was talking about his the last thing he was talking about is the shootout with the Popo and getting all those years.
Right. Okay, well.
All right. So now, to get back into that, you know, that kind of like is what made my story so interesting and unique when, you know, I blasted off and came home. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the time that it took me to achieve these things was like unbelievable. Like, I was pretty much doing it at record-breaking speed. So, you know, here I go from, you know, serving all this amount of time for, you know, a serious offense against the police, and I make that transition back to the town, and it's like within 60 days I'm on the radio. Within 90 days I'm on Z100. Within 120 days, you know, I released another book, and I have hosted by K Slade. So I dropped the book with a soundtrack attached to it, and then the soundtrack was hosted by a major DJ, and then I'm on the radio, and this is like within a short time period. So, you know, I kind of like, it started like rattling the industry itself. They're like, yo, who's this guy that just popped up out of nowhere and is making this type of noise? Like, you know what I'm saying? So all of these accomplishments was like not something that happened over a lifespan. It was something that happened within a short period of time after serving so much time for that offense. You know what I'm saying? And that's what kind of like made, you know, my story unique to the game, and what made different people, you know, become drawn to my story and kind of like root for me and push the envelope with, yo, you guys need to pay attention to what this guy's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I just kept doing it over and over and over. You know what I'm saying? It was like, you know, if I did that within, you know, 120 days, by the time the next 4 months come, I done surpassed everything I did in the first 4 months. And, you know, within the first year and a half, I had already nailed the deal with Puma to do his book. I was like, yeah, this dude only been home a year and a half, and he already, you know what I'm saying? Like, he been on major radio stations, got nominated top 5 on Sound Hype, and penned the celebrity's book. Like, and I'm dropping music, you know, with celebrities and being featured on projects with celebrities. So it's like, you know, that's what made, you know, the buzz about what I was doing a lot bigger. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't like I was home all those years and incrementally doing these things. Like, everything just happened, boom. But it was the passion of, you know, being confined all that time and not be able to utilize these talents. You know what I'm saying? And even, you know, even in serving that time, I wasn't, you know, I was rhyming as a youth prior, but I had no knowledge or no desire to write books. But it was a talent that I created because I was in an environment where I couldn't express my talent, which was music. So couldn't go to the studio, couldn't record. So I was like, okay, well, what you gonna do? Just write a bunch of book of rhymes, and you know, who knows if you'll ever make it. You know what I'm saying? So it was with that, it was like, you know, let me slow down, stay out of trouble, because I was getting into trouble. And I was like, you know what, let me utilize my time in a different manner. You know what I'm saying? And be more. I was
getting ready to ask you. I was getting ready to touch on the trouble, because when I last saw you, when we was in the pen in 2002, we was in the Max A Penitentiary in Sing Sing in upstate New York. And I got kicked out of there because I was shooting my thing at one of the female sisters in there, the COs. You understand? And I mentioned this for a reason, right? And I had haters. You understand? They did what's called drop slips. You know,
Yeah,
they dropped a note silently and put it in the box, and they got to the warden, and the warden investigated it, and they kicked me out of there. But before they kicked me out of there, one of the dudes, he was in B Block Yard. He had there 25 years.
right.
And he got murdered. He had 30 days to go home. Remember?
I remember that.
He was down the hill in B Block Yard, and he admitted to the parole board after 25 years. He made the board,
Right.
and the dude popped up in the prison, but he had beef with 10, 12, 15 years ago.
Right.
But now he's about to go home. This individual that killed him, he still has some years to go. And he wound up losing his life. So I mentioned that story because you had mentioned,
Right.
I was thinking about what you was mentioning, how you decided to stay out of trouble. You understand? While you was incarcerated, because when we lost you for a few in a disconnection, I had mentioned to the viewers, right? That I mentioned to the viewers that the same crimes, the major crimes committed in society, rape, robbery, murder, extortion, drug dealing, drug use, and you know, and assaults is happening behind the wall.
Right.
You understand? So my thing to you, because I got kicked out of there and I didn't know what happened with you.
Right.
You understand? But I wasn't concerned, because like I also mentioned to the viewers, you was one of the young brothers I didn't have to put under the wing. I didn't have to guide, mentor, shape, mold, stay away from him.
Right.
You already knew that because you had knowledge of self. And like I mentioned earlier, you, from when I know you to today, 21, almost 21 years, you've always been a student of knowledge.
No
my
question.
question though, to that point is, how difficult, if it was difficult, right?
Mm-hmm.
How was it for you to make that decision? Listen, I'm not getting involved with this. I'm gonna stick to this and do this. So I can get the hell out of here and go home and do my thing.
But
how was that transition?
That right there, that was layered, you know, because you know, when I went up top, you know, landed in Sing Sing. Sing Sing was like a transitional spot for most of us that was from New York City. That was like, you know, your first landing before you go up. And then some dudes, you know, they start working their way back down. So either you get there in the beginning of your bid or you get there in the end of your bid. One of the two. I got there in the beginning. So then from there, you know, I was getting into trouble. You know, I was going to the box, stabbings, like all type of, you know, craziness. Still turned up. But, you know, it was about, I was young when I came in. So it was about, you know, for me anyway, realizing how your decisions affect other people. So young and you know, you got two audiences. You got your family and your home life, and then you got the individuals around you that's bidding in that world. So, you know, it's sort of like a dual personality. You know what I'm saying? Like, you one way with your family, but you another way over here. But see, but in the prison environment, it was like you're forcing those two worlds to collide. When you're home, you could kind of like hide them. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I could go up the block and be with my mans, and you know, I really know what I'm doing. And when I'm home, I could be somebody completely different. But now in prison, when the two worlds collided, you know what I'm saying? I started seeing the pain that I was causing the people that I loved. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, you know, where I'm thinking, yeah, I'm on the turn up, and I just clap this dude up in Clinton facility, or I go over here and, you know, we get into an argument over the jack and I poke this dude up, and now I'm going to the box for 2 years and my mom's come see me and I'm chained and shackled on the visit. And even at that point, I'm feeling like, you know, this some cool shit. Like, yeah, everybody know, you know, you turning up, they know what time it is. But see, when I seen my mom's reaction and my grandmother's reaction and them breaking down, seeing me like that, like, oh, you like an animal, man. Like, you wasn't raised like this. And seeing the hurt that my behavior caused people that I love was what, you know, was the transition of, all right, it's time to turn it down. Like, you know, this is not what it is or what it's supposed to be. And then from there, I said, you know what? I you know, I love music, but let me try to develop another talent within myself. And that's where, you know, when I went to the box, one of the times I sat down and I started teaching myself how to write books. And I started reading and ordering a lot of how to write novels, or, you know what I'm saying, how to come up with a good plot, or how to, you know what I'm saying, you know, open a good chapter. And I started ordering a lot of tutorial books and then teaching myself how to write in book form and how to develop a story and what made a good story. And, you know, before you know it, it was just like, it just became a talent within itself. And I was just like penning books. Boom,
Yes, sir.
and out, you know what I'm saying? And now it became something therapeutic, because now I'm like, okay, this is what's going to keep me away from the nonsense. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, back to like when I made the transition into the town, I already had a vision in my head. And it was like, you know, I did it so fast and with so much passion and drive, and I was doing what nobody else was doing, that the buzz just started just developing even bigger and bigger and bigger. You know what I'm saying? Where I just kept breaking new ground, untapped area.
Well, I just want to say, I think somebody lied in this story plot, because you only look like you 21. So I'm just trying to figure out how you did all that looking 21. Because you look like you 21. I'm just saying. I'm like, he lying. He gotta be lying.
That's why his name is called Young God. YG.
Young God, you know. They always tell you your name is a vibration, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You become the name. So yeah.
That's how I got my name, CDL.
Right. Hey, yo, Mr. P on the line. Mr. P said he's anybody.
That's Monster, yo.
Okay, Monster. What up, boy? Listen, Monster said anyone can get a feature with him for $2,500. He just did a joint with DW Flame. Monster, put up your handles where the people can find you. You know what I mean? So they can see what you're doing and hear some music. Back to YG family. You know, I heard it said the other day, I was listening to something and I heard a brother say, with money you can buy a clock, but you can't buy time. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Buy time. You use that time. Right there. You use that time wisely. You understand what I'm saying? You took a negative situation and you thought about it because you looked at your family, you looked at all the people you hurt. You understand what I'm saying? By coming out from the box, shackled down with your family, moms or whoever coming on the visit. And you know how that look in prison. Yeah, that's a good look in prison. You know what I mean? Yo, listen, I put in work. I go to SEC, I go to the hole for whatever. Y'all gonna know it. You know what I mean? But you notice the change when internally you realize it, because it affects you when you come out on the visit, shackled down. So that suggests to me that you are a man of conscious, of reflection and deep thought, and that, you know what I mean, at the end of the day you do have a heart. You know what I mean? So
self-awareness.
Exactly, and it takes a good fella. You know, it takes a good fella to recognize that within himself. So knowing that you did that time and you did it wisely, you did it in here and then you did it in here. You say, you know something, going back out there like that, I'm not doing it.
Yes, sir.
Because look at what was lost. Dudes in the street right now get money, and we not shaming, bashing, hating on nobody, because yo, we was in the street, all of us, all three of us. We all did our dirt in the street. And we not, personally, I'm not going, you know what I mean? I'm not with it. But if you getting money, if you're doing your numbers or whatever you're doing, hey yo, more power to you. All I ask is stay safe, make the right decisions. I hope you get out sooner rather than later. Because when you did your time, Malik did his time, CDL did her time, we all thought about it because we got a little bit older. We got wise and we said, hold on a second, we got to do the game different. And that's right, Shiny Black Magic. So we got to do the game different. Each and every one of us, I don't care who you are, was born with a talent. For some of us, and a gift. For some of us, it just took longer to realize it. I mean, not even realize it, because we knew we had the talent, but it took longer for us to actually implement it, learn it, see where it fits and implement it in our lives. So with that, bro, I just want to say to everybody, because me and Malik say this, CDL says this, and everybody that's listening out there, if you're in the streets getting money, you've been to prison. If you haven't been to prison, more particularly for the men and women, black and brown, people of color, African Americans, because some people have a problem with the black thing. So who've been to prison? We want to know, because you can see an example in CDL, you can see this example in Malik, you can see that example in me. You damn sure can see that example in this brother right here, YG. Look at what he got out and done. There's life after prison. If you got a dream and you have passion, don't F with the, yo, listen, let me tell you something. It's a lot of so many, you know this, YG, so many cats and bros stuck the fuck on stupid. You know what I mean? They don't want nothing for their life. This is all they ever gonna be. Yeah, that shit look good on the outside. It's all good. I ain't mad at you. But that's all you will ever be, because you don't have the conscience enough to take your life to a better level, you know, or that next level, so to speak. You understand what I'm saying? So knowing that people can look at us and say, wait a minute, yo, if they did it, it took some time, but they did it.
Right.
Where they at? And bro, I said this about 3-4 shows ago. Where this come from? It's a term from England. It was when one soldier, one fighter rode up on a horse to meet the other. They lift their shield up to show, they lift the shield to show the respect to the opponent. It might have been the last time they saw each other. Was somebody gonna die? Like so I give you this, bro. Well, ain't us gonna die, but it was a sign of salute. So I salute you and I respect what you're doing. Get your bags, get your money, keep your hustle on. You know what I mean? I like what you're doing. You heard, and I'm sure the people have taken something from your story.
I have a question though. I have a question before y'all, because I'm not done with him yet. But
no,
I just want your views on, because you know I have my views about this new mumble rap era. Me and Malik say it all the time. We all grew up on gangster dope dealer music, and they grew up on dope user music. So there's a difference. We are not the same. And so, I just want, since you're in the industry and you work with all different levels, and mindsets, right? In the industry, what is your views on how this new generation is, one, putting out music, how they're affecting the community, and how can we influence people to do something different? You know what I'm saying? Like, people would probably say the same thing about our gangster era, right? You know what I'm saying? With Pac and Biggie and, all the ones who was on the gangster tip, Ice Cube, all of them. And, that was problematic too. Right. But it's getting worse now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because people are idolizing what people are saying and doing. Like, it's become a fad now to go to the penitentiary. Like it's funny. You know what I mean? They're not understanding the seriousness of what's going on. I mean, we're seeing stars, and I'm not gonna mention their names. My brothers can. They going to jail, and they in there got videos dancing like it's a fucking game.
You know what I mean?
Oh, this dumbass shit! What the hell is this? What the
juju?
The gym bug challenge.
Yeah, the gym bug.
I'm so disappointed.
I wanted your insight. Listen, I just wanted your insight on it because, and I know you're in the industry, so I don't want you to have to, I'm not trying to incite you talking a bunch of shit about people, your comrades, because you guys are all going to intersect at some point. But I just wanted your view on what's happening, you know what I'm saying? Because it's all bad right now.
Right. Well, I come from a conscious space. So, I tend to be more in tune with certain things than other individuals who's around us might not be. You know what I'm saying? But my take on that is basically like, it's happening by design. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not really a result of any one of us to blame. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you figure, the system is controlling the narrative. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, even with our era, you know what I'm saying, where they was, you know, pushing the gangster rap, it was by design. You know, that was the agenda. So now, you know, but it's sort of like they got what they wanted out of that. You know what I'm saying? So every like, you know, phase of the program that they put before us, you know what I'm saying, it has its pros and its
Right.
cons. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, on one aspect, you know, they made the money necessary out of the situation of the gangster rap. But on the other light, you know what I'm saying, it was too many, it was too turned up. So now it's like, hold on, yeah, we made a couple of dollars, but you know, it's too many people that's like, you know,
Dying.
rebelling against the system. So we got to tone that down. So now the new phase is, yo, dumb them down. You know what I'm saying? Dumb them down and get them even less rebellious than they was before. So let's make the money. Let's make the money the same way, but you know, make the money the same way, but with less aggression. So they learn from their mistakes too. So that's why, you know, now is the result of that whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's, you know, what's being pushed down everybody's throat is the result of the system. You know what I'm saying? All of these
Absolutely.
individuals that they playing over and over is signed by major labels, and they keep purposely, you know, signing the individual who has the same sound as the other individual, who has the same cadence, who has the same subject matter. Nobody's really breaking no ground. You know what I'm saying? But it's by design. It's on purpose.
Let me ask
I
you.
bring it up because I have an 18-year-old son, and you know, even if you're not a musician or a rapper or a producer, a lot of people find comfort from music. Period. Right? That's a known thing. And my son being 18, I mean, he recently came to me and was like, you know, I'm really pissed off that you even had me in this era. Like, I'm embarrassed to be born in this era. I'm 18, but I can't rock with these dudes. Like, they doing some way out shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the kid in LA who was high and he a rapper and shot up shot them brides up live on IG. Like, my son's like, I can't even rock with this generation.
Right.
So, you know, I got him listening to NWA. I'm not sure if that's any better, but you know,
you got an old soul.
as far as you know, but I'm just saying, it's like, it's sad because like people want to rock with music, and and music soothes the soul, and people talk through music, and they vibe through music, and they communicate through music, and it's getting kind of difficult to do that now.
But that's why it's being weaponized against us.
Right.
You know, it's not about talent or, you know, what an individual could contribute to his community or society or even, you know, the world as a whole. It's about using it as a mechanism to weaponize. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we the product. You know what I'm saying? We just the what you call it, the bearers of bad news. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what that boils down to.
Right. With that, I wanted to segue, as a closing topic. What's your take on gun violence in America today? I'm gonna give you an example, right? So, as of March 16th, 2021, March 16th, 2021, that's when we lost eight people from our Asian family, from the Asian community in Atlanta, right? At them salons and the massage parlors and whatnot. 8 people were murdered, right? Since that day, March 16th, 2021, there have been 50 mass shootings in America. We're not talking about individual murders.
That's by
These
design.
stats are about mass murders. 50 as of yesterday. 50 in a month and like 4 days. 50 mass shootings. Now, the Gun Violence Archive is a website. The Gun Violence Archive, they view mass shootings or a mass shooting as 4 or more people having been shot and or killed. And since March 16th, we've had 50 in America. Again, we're not talking about the individual shootings where 1 or 2 or 3 people have gotten shot and or murdered. These stats are about 50 mass shootings with 4 or more people in each shooting that have died and or were shot. What's your take on that?
We back to me. That's
Yes,
my
sir.
question.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you know, to piggyback off CDL, you know, I feel like that's by design too.
Yep.
You know, I feel like it's the agenda. So whatever's on the agenda is what's going to be shoved down your throat. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they want, you know, gun reform. So, you know, I mean, those things is things that's happening all the time. All the time. It's just what they choose to report about and when they choose to report about it. So when they want to change and reform these different gun laws, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to take all the statistical data from around the country and they're going to keep shoving that down the media's throat. You know what I'm saying? Until, you know, they get some friction and ruffle enough feathers to implement the change that they want to happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if they're not interested in on that agenda, then they're going to show you a bunch of entertainment. You know what I'm saying? They might show you, you know, the pop stars, you know, Super Bowl performance for a whole month and just keep shoving that down your throat because they ain't worried about gun control at that time. You know what I'm saying? But when that's something that they want to do, then that's what they push. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And keep making it more trendy than what it is because they're trying to stir emotions. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the point that I look at it from. Because when you go back, if you go back to like, you know, allegedly, you know, the days of quote unquote slavery, right? And you know, and you do research and diligent research, right? You'll find that it was a lot of Nat Turners, bro. It was a lot of them. But guess what? That's not the agenda. They're not going to promote that to you. You know what I'm saying? Because by promoting that, all you're going to do is create more. Like, oh, yeah, it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, if there's another one, there's a turn up. So they're not going to feed you that agenda. They're going to put in the history books, you know, it was 1 or 2 of you and they failed. So, but realistically, you know, if you do your research, the back in the days in the 1800s, yo, they was turning it up. Like, you know, they wasn't having it, man. You had to do like, you know, in this era, you might hear, I had the incident with police. So, you know, that would fall in alignment with like Larry Davis, who was like, you know, glorified for that whole situation. You know what I'm saying? But like in the 1800s, you had a dude named, what was it? Robert Charles, who like was like going buck wild on the boys. But you never heard about him in the history book. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why? Because they don't want you to know about him. Why? You know what I'm saying? They're going to promote the Kunta Kinte mentality. You know what I'm saying? Even though that's some other BS, you know, because that was a fabrication. You know? Clearly come out with this and it's all fake. You know what I'm saying? It's all plagiarized. So, you know, when it comes to the gun control, it's the same. They're gonna push what's on the agenda. If it ain't on the agenda, then you know it ain't gonna get shoved down your throat.
You know, not only that, like people are really stuck on the statistics things. And as someone who got out of prison and went to college and took 3 different stats classes, what I can tell you is stats are not accurate at any time ever on the planet. They'll get 100 people and ask 100 people or survey 100 instances, and they will apply that to the whole. Statistics are skewed anyways to fit the narrative. Always. You know, 9 out of 10, 4 out of 5 dentists recommend Colgate. They only ask 5 dentists.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I studied statistics, and so when people try to bring stats to me, I'd be like,
you know what's funny about that? Not to deviate, just to add on to what you're saying, right? In terms of the statistics, right? So now, you know, historically, right? You got the all true American breakfast, which is they call bacon and eggs, right? But now the average person in the nation doesn't know that, you know, there was somebody hired by a PR agency, right, in order to sell more units of pork, right, or bacon, right? So they had to come up with a campaign in order to do that, and what they did was they used statistical data, like you're saying, right?
Yep.
And they interviewed about 4 or 5 doctors, right? And they asked them, yo, what constitutes a healthy breakfast, right? And after getting all the surveys back from the doctors, you know, they came up with, oh, a heavy breakfast. So then they said, oh, well, a heavy breakfast constitutes a healthy breakfast. And they fused bacon with eggs as the all true American breakfast. So now, you know, to the present right now, 2021, you got turkey bacon, beef bacon, pork bacon, you know what I'm saying? But it's become, you know, attached to eggs where really they don't go together. But it was a marketing tool, you know what I'm saying? Based on statistical data.
Not only that, when they do that, when they do the data, like let's say they do a survey, right? Because I had to study surveys. They'll do a survey and they'll put bananas with cereal as an option. Like they'll give you 4 options until they narrow and undesirable options until bacon and eggs become the one that sounds like the best appetizing wise. Not only that, like I studied the psychology of advertisement, and everything you talking about is on point. Like there is a manipulation to everything that they talk about, like literally what is healthy, what is not healthy, the food groups according to who, because a lot of food groups are not okay. Eggs shouldn't even be up in there. And you know, so what if someone is Muslim and they don't eat eggs and pork, so what, they're not healthy? Like, you know, there's a manipulation to everything that they talk about. So when it comes to stats, I'd be like, man, I ain't trying to hear none of that. Because you didn't, because when you survey
manipulation, it goes hand in hand with government. It's just like it is what it is, a part of the whole. It's the marketing scheme of the politician. Manipulation.
Absolutely. Every time I hear a stat, I'd be like, you know, it's bullshit. You know how I know? Because they didn't ask me. I'm part of that statistic. They didn't ask me. So where'd you come up with that? You didn't ask me. I didn't have no one survey me that question.
Data and statistics, brother. Data and statistics, of course, can be skewed and misrepresented, over or underrepresented. It depends on the field and the area you're talking about. Now, if we're talking about population, 13% of the population is Black, African American, and 80% of the prison population is actually Black or Black Latinos or people of color. How we get that? We compile all the numbers around the country, all the people in prison. We put them against the total population out here, and now we can determine that's factual. But I get what you're saying, because, and I get what CDL is saying too. I mean, we're gonna disagree, sis. You know what I mean? This is why it's called a sit down, and this is why we have conversation. And I'm not right, you're not wrong, and vice versa, and vice versa.
I'm always right.
No. I wish I was always right. I wouldn't be on camera. But you're right. All of us is right when it comes down to the media, whether we're speaking about the music game or the media as far as the news, because they push the narrative. As the sister said a while back, you know what I mean? Before the pandemic, we had mass shootings, but not as much as was popping off now. 4 months into the New Year's, this shit has exploded. So if you have the media perpetuating every time you turn on the television right now, there was another mass shooting. There was another mass shooting, because this is a way to spin the cycle and perpetuate a problem, but for them get more viewers and have the public, us or other people on edge. Oh, we have to do something about gun violence. Oh, we got to do this. So now you got the left fighting the right fighting the left, and this thing's just spinning out every single day. I understand exactly what you're saying, what my brother's saying, what CDL is saying, because when you push a narrative, just like in the music game right now, or for the last couple, everybody sound alike. These new cats, they all sound alike, and what they all talking about, the same shit. Drugs, guns, Dracos, this, that, you know what I mean? They all at the jewelry spot. What's that spot down there, Mr. King? Whatever it is. You know what I mean? So everybody starts to look the same and sound the same. But the music companies, this is all they're pushing. And this is all that's being played on the radio because these music companies are paying these radio stations for rotation and for spins. This is how everybody buy their music, and buy into their shit. You understand what I'm saying? So the more you see this every single day, and if this is all you hear every single day, eventually this is what you become, and this is what you think. And it's the same way with the media. If you see gun violence all day, oh, another mass shooting, listen, our people have been jailed, shot, beat, raped, murdered at a pace and at a rate. This is not to diminish for what's happening in this country right now with all the gun shootings. But I get tired of people saying to us, oh, y'all need to get over slavery. That was 400 years ago. Hold on a second. Oh, you need to get over the civil rights. You need to get over this. You need to get over that. Oh, you need to get over George Floyd. That was last year. But the brother, and I think I sent this to you, CDL, so I want to say, the brother said, y'all want us to get over all of that, but we look at the Twin Towers and y'all tell us, never forget 9/11. You want us to never forget 9/11, okay? But you want us to dismiss what's happened to our people all these years with prison, unfair housing, education, jobs, you name it. So I need to see more of that on television every day. That's what I want to see on TV every day. See what I'm saying? Of course, the injustice that just got murdered. Actually, matter of fact, let me ask you how you feel about that right quick. Let me see on time. What do you feel, and what's your take, and how do you feel about the George Floyd and the Dante Wright situation, just of recent, especially the young boy Dante Wright down in Minnesota as well? What do you feel about that?
Well, in what light? Because it's like, I look at it like layers. It's layers, you know.
How does it make how does it make you feel as a young brother who's in the street, who banged out with the police, who did his time, but as an African American brother, as a man in this country, coming from where we come from, and to see that man kneel on that brother's neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, and to see the other brother, boy, Dante Wright, get shot down while the ladies, how do you feel as a human when you watch those things, and what do you think should be done? How do you feel about that?
Well, how I feel about it is like, again, man, it's systematic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I look at all of these as different layers to the system, because it's sort of like, like they push a narrative, right? Where it's like blacks in America is under attack, right? So that's one narrative that they push, right? Which has true elements too, where there's a lot of police shooting, unarmed blacks, right? Now, another narrative they'll push is the war, and the war on terror they will associate with Islam, right? Now let's fuse these two elements, right? Now, the war on terror would be a foreign policy, right? It doesn't apply here because you don't see any police gunning down Islamic people. You know what I'm saying? The war on terror is a foreign strategy. Now, the war on the black man is a domestic strategy, right? So now, when you analyze that in itself, the only black people that's getting gunned down is the ones that don't belong to an intellectual or religious institution. So what I mean is that you're not seeing someone who wears a kufi or a turban or is a part of a known institution being gunned down. You're seeing all the
A
ones
respectful
who
institution.
say what?
A respectful institution, right?
Right. You know what I'm saying? You're only seeing the ones who they believe don't belong to an institution that's being sacrificed. You know what I'm saying? Because they know of the outpour and, you know, the real drama that's going to come behind an institution that's, number one, not having it, but number two, has some type of organization to it. You know what I'm saying? So it's sort of like, you know, the sacrificial lambs that you seeing that's going down, none of them, you know, belong to a known institution. Everything is like, you know, they just like they're blacks that's not like, you know, a part of anything. Or that's the narrative that's being portrayed subtly though. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, you're not seeing them gun down nobody with a kufi or turban or you know, and you know, let's say, you know, Catholic garbs or Christian garbs or whatever religious institution or Jews. You're not seeing any of them being gunned down. And you have blacks that belong to all of these different institutions and that dress in the clothing of these institutions in public. You know what I'm saying? And none of them's being sacrificed because they know what the backlash that'll come with organization. So it's the ones that's not associated that becomes victim, because they promote all the time that, you know, you got the war on terror, and they always give the appearance as though Islam or Islamic people are terrorists. But none of these racist white boys are gunning down, or police rather, you know what I'm saying, are gunning down, you know, Muslims. It's not, that's not taking place. So as much as they push that narrative, they pushing it because it's a foreign policy. It don't apply to here. So it's like once you understand what they're really doing and how they shifting through the matrix, you know what I'm saying, you start seeing the games that's really being played on a high level. You know what I'm saying?
That's
so that's how
great
I
question. Yeah, that was a great question the brother posed, and even more, you know, greater response. So real quick, we got like 7 minutes left before we slide up out of here. Absolutely, man. So we got like 7 more minutes before we peel up out of here. So real quick, YG, aka William Young, I want you to let the viewers know where they can find your music, you understand, and you know, your social media. I mean, plug your stuff. Plug it.
Yeah, I'm everywhere, man. I'm on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Pandora, you know, everywhere, man. William Young. In terms of social media, you know, we got the Facebook, William Young. Instagram is William _ forever, William Young forever. Each one got an underscore, so it's William _ forever _ Young. So, you know, I'm there. I'm on social media and I'm on all the different streaming platforms, man.
Man, I know for me, man, there's nothing greater than seeing somebody come from where we come from in the streets, in the penitentiary, and come out on the other side, man, because people need to understand so many of our people are in the deception because that's where they want them. But that delusion, which I was in for a long time too, because I was in and out of jail for 23 years, like going back to prison, just back and forth. And my thing is so many of us have this mentality that once I have a felony, I'm screwed. Once I have this, you know, I'm fucked. And the truth is, you got people, we keep bringing people on the show who've been there, done that, and look at me now. You know what I mean? Started from the bottom, now we're here. So, you know, it's always, you know, an honor to talk to somebody who makes it to the other side, man. Because, you know, it's not always easy. We have to play catch up and keep up our whole life.
And like my comrade Oran said, you understand? You know, again, to the people who are just tuning in, and for those of you who've been tuning in, as a quick reminder before we, you know, sign off, Cons to Dons, right? The movement Cons to Dons. See this here, Cons to Dons, right? Cons to Don is about showcasing men and women, right, who've been to prison once, twice, 3 times, however many times, right? and have not figured it out yet. So what we do with Constant Dons is we highlight brothers like my comrade William Young, you understand? To show that there is life after prison, you understand? But we also want you to be well informed, you understand? It's not a guarantee that you will make it out of there alive. Going to the penitentiary, going through reception and getting that paperwork, this is not it. But as an example, you get a piece of paper in reception and it'll tell you how much time you got to do, your release date. And it actually, for some people, you'll see your release date. Getting that piece of paper, going through reception in the state prison system, once you get that paper and it shows a release date, it is no guarantee you will live to see that release date and walk up out of there. I'm gonna say this again. Me and my comrade was in a Max A prison in New York State together, my man William Young, and a guy made the parole. He went to the parole board after 25 years, and he was granted release. He had 30 days to go home, and he got murdered in the yard in the afternoon, about between 1 and 1:30 in the afternoon, by another convict prisoner inmate that he had beef with in another prison 10, 12 years prior. So that guy came to that prison where this guy is going home after serving 25 years, didn't know he was about to go home, or he didn't give a damn. And he went to his homie and said, yo, there goes so-and-so, I got beef with him. You got that thing on you? His homie's like, I got that. Gave him the knife, and he went and stabbed that dude to death. So be clear, right? Going to the penitentiary is no badge of honor. Going to the penitentiary does not make you a man. I saw dudes in my old hood in Flatbush, Brooklyn, New York, that were certified gangsters with a pistol. Go to prison and get extorted like little girls. Right. There was killers in the street. I know for a fact that these dudes killed multiple people.
And they don't talk about how people get killed every day.
They went to the, no, they don't. And they went to the pen and they was getting extorted. They did a lot of money in the street. They had the money when they came to the pen, but they couldn't use it and they got extorted. So be clear, Constant Dons is about changing the narrative. We are trying to slow down and eventually eradicate recidivism amongst the Black, brown, and the Latino community. Because too many of our brothers and sisters are getting lost in that system on the front lines. My brother YG was a young brother that was fortunate because before he went to the pen with his situation, he had knowledge of self. Before he went in, he was a student of knowledge. He was able to capitalize off his being a student of knowledge and separate himself from the masses in the penitentiary at a particular point in his bid, right? And start doing something different. In particular, when he went on the visit and changed like a slave and shackled up and could not hug his mother and his grandmother. Everybody don't get to make that change. Everybody don't have that pivotal moment when they're in the pen. A lot of people go to the pen, right? And they don't have that family support. They don't have nobody to call because you burnt your bridges. You don't have nobody to write because you burnt your bridges. You don't get no packages because you burnt your bridges. You don't get no mail because you burnt your bridges. That's the last place you want to be when you burn your bridges, because them crackers behind that wall, them cracker guards, they get wrecked off of people, inmates who don't have no ties to the community. These are the ones they beat to death. These are the ones that get lost behind the system. So be clear, Constant Dons is about changing the narrative. And this is why I brought my brother on as a guest to showcase and highlight what he did in the street and what he went through in the pen and what he's doing now. So to YG, my brother, thank you, man.
CDL.
Oh,
yeah,
man,
I just wanted to say, I was going to say because we have predominantly men who come on our show, and it's I'm cool with that completely, 500%, because I don't play well with others all the time. But I want to point out that to the women, like, the dynamics between women in prison and men in prison are different, but don't ever get it twisted. This is to the women. There is equally as violent in the women's penitentiary. You know what I mean? Women still get raped in the penitentiary with some objects you don't want to know about. You know what I'm saying? Hot curling irons and all kind of shit. So it's equally as traumatizing for the women. I just want to know, because a lot of women think, oh, well, it ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? In the women's prison, it's not it's a different dynamic, especially in California. but it's equally as violent in the women's, you know what I'm saying, penitentiaries. And a lot of women don't think about it. I don't think there's enough women talking about women in the penitentiary. See, because I keep saying all these women.
I've heard male, female, excuse me, I've heard male COs tell me after they left a women's prison and they came to the men's prison, they said they don't ever want to go back to work.
Oh yeah, they told me the same thing. It's ugly
That's
on, on many different levels. But my point is to the women out there, I see so many women going to the penitentiary behind a dude. And you don't even know what you're getting ready to rock into. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's just equally as violent in there. And we don't talk about it as women enough. We talk about this side of prison, but you don't talk about what's going on up in there. And there's not a lot of women that are talking about it. So I want to talk about it.
From what I was told from women I know that been to the pen, that came home when I came home, or was home before me, or came home after, that I worked on construction sites with in 2013, male guards, male doctors, male kitchen staff are the ones that are violating them. We're not going to talk about, on top of the inmate on inmate violence, they're being raped by prison guards. They're being raped by doctors that you go to get your GYN checkup and they got you in them stirrups. They're violating them.
Well, there's some volunteers too. There's a whole lot of volunteers too, but you know, that's a whole other show. But I just want to,
the non-volunteers. That's a fact. But anyway, talk about it, baby. For the shout out.
Well, I want to always thank you for your candor, your intelligence, your intellectual analyzation of the topics, and how you just articulately, come through and put it down. You know what I mean? For the viewers to always see. Malik, always for your passion, your valor, because it takes courage, man, to talk about the things that you talk about. We speak on, and me for just being able to be here with these two good people right there. And why? Because we're getting ready. YG
wouldn't be here without Constant Dons, baby. We wouldn't be here without Constant Dons, baby.
No doubt. YG, truly, we do appreciate you being here.
That's a fact,
brother.
That's likewise. I appreciate you having me.
For enlightening us, telling your story, but more importantly, for giving hope to so many people in these ghettos and hoods around the country. Because not only does your story resonate, your story is one of millions and millions of stories in every state in this country that's been through what you've been through, went to prison, made that connection mentally, spiritually, and so have you, and came home and did it different, and actually did it bigger, and actually is doing it better. So we appreciate you, King. We salute you. We definitely gonna stay, chopping. But
I don't know you, but I'm gonna be your #1 fan just because I know where you come from and what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm one of them people. I support Black anything when they trying to do something positive. So I'm gonna be your #1 stalker. Don't trip.
So Malik, let's wrap it right quick, Malik. Yes, I just wanted to say what I had to say, YG, and we're gonna chop it. So go ahead, Malik.
So real quick, again, I want people to go on iTunes, SoundCloud, Apple Music, anywhere where music is streaming, and check out my brother William Young. iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Apple Music, Pandora, anywhere where they're streaming music.
I do.
Go on there.
Pick one.
Yeah, pick one. He's on all of them.
Yeah, pick one and then pick them all. You understand? Because I've done it. You understand? So with that being said, he's also a writer of books. He's also an author of autobiographies. If you know somebody with an interesting story that needs to be told to the community and to the world at large, hit him up on Facebook, William Young, and link up with him. Again, he's not just a musician. He's multi-talented. He's a writer. He's a musician. And he's an intellectual. You understand? And he's young. So for all you people that are young and tuning in, follow him on social media at William Young. If you don't know the other social media platform he's on, go to William Young on Facebook, request him, friend him, and find out where else he's in on social media and tune in, man. Because again, the sit down is about a conversation for an hour and a half. But once we log off, we want you to continue the conversation and have a sit down with you and your family, with you and your friends, with the people you ever care about. Because the sit down, once we log out, the conversation has to continue. The narrative has to continue. So with that being said, YG, I would like for you, if it's possible, when you get time, to reach out to Papoose, because we would really, really like to interview Remy Ma for the Conscious Dons magazine, and because like my sister just said, we only feature and highlight males that been through the things that we've been through. You understand? And Remy Ma, she's like my homegirl in New York and Queens. Papoose's daughter Dejanay and my homegirl daughter Imani, they're best friends. And I spoke to Dejanay before I came to Texas, but I lost contact with my plug in New York. So just holler at your bro Papoose, let him know what we did, man, and find out. But talk to him one day to see if I can get his. But I know I got to go through him to get the queen on. Yeah. That's a fact.
Yeah, because Remy is,
you know,
she's come to a Don. She's a queen. You know what I mean? She's a con to a Don. She put her work and she came home.
Yeah,
and she making it happen.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So with that being said, YG, man, once again, man, I love you, man, and as always, bro, I'm proud of you, homie.
Thank you for having me, man.
And I don't. Yeah, I'm gonna call you tonight within the next hour or so because it's Ramadan. I gotta take care of a few things and pray. I'm gonna call you back tonight.
Look, I'm gonna stay behind. I'm gonna end the stream right now, but I want you to stay on for a second because I have a question offline. So I'm gonna end that shit. YouTube, our followers, we love you, and we'll talk to y'all in a minute.
All right, for everybody that tuned in, everybody that had a comment, we apologize for not. You know, normally we'll try to get to some of the comments. Dreamer, Shawnee Brown, Tyrani Woodley, Shawnee Brown. I see the comments. We thank you. We salute you. God willing, we'll see you again this Thursday. Same time, same station, same sit down, different topic.